Welcome to Forest Namesake. We're so glad that you're here. I'm Valentine and this is my mom, Martina. Today we're going to be talking about peer pressure, whether Christian or non-Christian. And I think I'm putting her on the spot speaking of peer pressure, but I'm not meaning to pressure her. But if she wants to, maybe she can share a time when she felt pressured to do something that was just not for her.
Yes. When I was a little girl already and my brother was a little boy, little kids, my dad always said, would just kind of implant things in our brain, so to speak, not like surgically, just mentally would say, he would look at us and he would look at my brother and say, you'd make a good lawyer someday. I think you should go to law school and pursue that and become a lawyer, and someday, who knows, you could be my own personal lawyer. And then my brother said, yeah, Dad, that sounds great. I mean, we didn't call my dad Dad. We have a different name for him, but you know what I mean. Throughout all his growing up years, that's what my brother kept thinking. I'm going to be a lawyer. That's what I'm going to do. And he went to law school, and he's a lawyer today. So he fulfilled my father's dream. That was what my dad would keep pushing him, like, now don't forget, you need to apply to law school. Now don't forget, go to this school and apply to that school and this school and da-da-da-da, and take your bar exam. And he would just kind of and he would give him, lots of praises. Oh, you're doing great. Kind of like his own cheerleader, so to speak. You're doing great, son. Well, with me, he would say to me, he would look at me and go, you'd make a great doctor, a great medical doctor. And then I thought, what kind of doctor? I mean, there's so many well, you'll know when you get to college. You'll know what kind you want to be. Maybe a children's doctor, who knows? And he said, you just keep working towards that. Take all the courses in college going towards that, and you will just do really well in life. It pays well. You'll never have to worry about where the food's coming from on your at home. You'll always be be provided for. It's a great job. And so he would keep cheering me on. You're doing, every time I did good grades, which was extremely rare, you're doing great. That's a wonderful C that you got there on that paper. But he was just a great supporter, and he did encourage us well, and I'm not making fun of him. It's just that he had that dream for my brother to be a lawyer, and that dream came true, and he's still a lawyer today, and yes, he is filthy rich. Mm-hmm. I mean, whoo, his house looks like a castle, and they drive nice cars, and they get to go to the Turks and Caicos. I think that's in the Caribbean islands somewhere, but anyway. So me, I did try really hard to make those A's and B's, or at least passing grades, and it always came very hard. And when I got to college, that was my major. My major was pre-med, which for those of you who are overseas, it just means you're planning to go into the field of medicine. And woo, there were some difficult classes that I had to do that I could not fulfill as far as passing. It was so difficult. There were times where I had to repeat a course because I got an F in it. It was so hard, and a lot of courses, you know how it is in college, you take like 5 or 6 courses all at once. Oh, and they were so hard, and I just couldn't keep up. My grades kept going down, 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 and my father would say, oh, come on, you've got to work harder, and you've got to do this now. You got to make your dad proud. And look, your brother, he did this. Now you can do the same. And it took me a little bit longer to go through college. I went through college 5 years. And by the end of the 5th year of my college, I was on academic suspension. And for those of you who know what that is, the dean of students tells you, I'm sorry, but your grades are so bad, we're going to have to, you're done. And that was before the end of the year, before the end of my 5th year. So I did not make my father proud, but by the 5th year, the dean kept telling me, you need to get out of pre-med. That's not your field. So then I went into what's called the PA specialization, which means physician's assistant. And I thought, I'll make my father proud. At least I'm still in the medical field. But still, you still had to do a lot of sciences, a lot of math and science that I was not good at. And so I still was discouraging to my father. And then, just kind of rewind a little bit, when I graduated from high school, I had met some people that were from Broadway, and that was always my dream, to go to Broadway in New York and act on the stage in the Broadway shows. And I was, at that time, a very good actress, I mean, I had won the awards in high school. In order to go, I had met the right people, and I had the right moment and the right time to be able to go. And my father was there and said, absolutely not. She's not going to Broadway. She may be a great actress, and she may be someday be on Broadway, but not right now. Right now, she needs to pursue college. She needs to graduate, become a doctor, and then she can do the acting on the side. And my mother would say, no, no, no. Acting is her forte. She's not good at those hard grades, math and science. Please let her go to Broadway while she has a chance. And my father said, no, she needs to have the other thing as a backdrop, as a what do you call it? Something to fall back on. So anyway, getting back to now in college, I was at academic suspension, and I had to tell my father, I'm sorry, I failed you. I didn't do what you wanted me to do. I just can't do it. I can't keep up with the grades. I'm on academic suspension. Now they kicked me out of the college, and that's it. And so I was very discouraged because I could never live up to what my father wanted me to become because the grades were not that good. And then eventually I wanted to make him even happier. He was still very upset about that, and then I was very discouraged. And then I went to technical school to become a dental assistant, and I actually got my it's just a certificate that you get, a certificate of achievement. It's a year-long program. I got all A's. They hired me on the spot. But after the first 2 times of oral surgery, I fainted on the job because I couldn't handle all the blood and everything in the mouth, and the dentist said, I've got to let you go. I'm firing you. We can't handle this. We can't have you fainting twice here on the job. That's it. So I had to go back to my father again. I mean, it seems ridiculous as an adult to have to keep going back to my father, but I wanted to please him, and I just couldn't in that field. So there's an example of peer pressure, just somebody constantly saying, you need to do this. You need to keep on going. And if you can't do that, then you're going to have to get something as close to possible as to it. But as you can tell, I'm not a doctor today. I'm not a dental assistant today because I can't handle that.
I do remember her going to classes because I think we were there for her graduation. We should got her dental
assisting
thing. I was like probably only 8 or 7,
yeah, right.
But I do remember that because there's a picture of her also holding up the sign. But that tells you even when she was a mother that she was still under peer pressure from her father.
Yeah, trying to please him, and just, I mean, he loved me. He's deceased now. He loved me. I know he loved me, but I always felt second best because the favored, we talked about that in a previous video about favoritism, parents showing favoritism. I always felt like I was the unfavored child because I could never fulfill my father's dreams of me becoming a doctor or close to it. Yeah. So it
was kind of the same for me too.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved, I called him Opa because that's the German. He was not German, but he married a German, so we called him Opa. But yeah, now that I think back on it, I think he was trying to do the same to me because he really wanted me to pursue math and got me to fractions. He took me to his bedroom alone so we could go over fractions, and I did not want to do that. And I'm not making fun.
Right, yes. But, it was just funny looking back.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I felt so sorry for Valentine because that's what he would do with me too. And so it was like me reliving myself as a child, like, oh, I remember those days. Oh, those were long, boring hours.
And me and my mom, we're actually quite alike. I know we're wearing the yellow shirts, but I'm talking about mentally. And I'm not putting ourselves down. I'm just saying that she and we are not gifted in the mathematics.
Or science.
I was quite behind in school, both homeschool and in public school. I did not do well at all. I mean, I would say the 10th grade I was doing pretty good, but no, I can't do astronomy, I can't do physics, I just can't, folks.
Yes. I hope you don't mind me sharing this, but when she was in public school, in high school, they had to, was it chemistry or physics? I think it was one of your difficult
it was physics
class. They had to do a project. Wasn't it a car going down a ramp? They had to make their own wooden car with wheels, and it had to go down this ramp, and it had to be at a certain speed, and if it didn't match that speed,
and if it was a very steep incline in our school, and if it zoom by and it hit the wall, you get an automatic 0. It has to stop at a certain point before it hits the wall. Like, I think it was like 6 inches. Like, who could do that?
I don't mean to laugh. Looking back now is funny, but at the time, poor Valentine, she was devastated. She was dreading that project and having to show that.
It was a team thing too. You could have teams, but no one wanted to be at my team. I didn't know anybody.
But then she was saved by the bell. You know that saying, saved by the bell? And I didn't even know that she was really, I knew she was doing that subject and she was doing that project, but that's not why we got her out. I just felt like from the Lord that it was time to homeschool her. So we pulled her out and said, we're pulling you out. And we went to get her and her sister and said, we're pulling you out. It's time to be homeschooled. And so she was like, yay,
So
I don't have to do that physics project.
Oh, you know what was worse? That project was over Christmas break. So you can't really enjoy your Christmas. You had to do that over Christmas break. Because I remember after Christmas break is when we officially pulled me out.
Yeah.
Just in the nick of time, so I didn't have to do that. That was mean of him to do that over Christmas break.
Yes. But we can laugh about it now, but it was not funny. Poor Valentine was extremely traumatized during that time period. She was so sad.
I just
poor
couldn't
thing.
get physics at all.
Yeah.
Kudos to you if you can. Because you could build those bridges and build skyscrapers and airplanes. I just, yeah.
Yeah.
But as for me personally, when I was peer pressured to do something, this was, again, peer pressure is usually both and. There's people who push you down like you're nothing and you're gonna do this, or those who mean it in a good way. In this case, I think they meant well, but it was not for me at that time. Again, I just finished discipleship school and I had just finished a job there. I was in the child care system looking after pastors' children. This is a quite growing church, and today I think it's quite large. But there were a lot of pastors who had a lot of kids, and so I was one of the helpers, and I got paid for that. But then that job was over. The summer was over, and I wanted to stay home and pursue homemaking skills. I thought that was what I was supposed to do. And we had a life group, and they said, you know, Valentine could really use a job. And I don't even know if I was there when they said that, but I kind of heard from it later. You know, she needs to get out on a job. She needs to socialize more.
And they said that about your sister too?
Yes. Get out in the world more. It's good for responsibility, and it is. I'm not saying it's not. But I hadn't been out in the world. I've been in Indonesia. I have been in the workforce before. But I guess these were the type who you have to be in a job all the time to be successful. And it's kind of like both sets of my grandparents would say too. Not just Opa, but my other set too were very into the college and making a success for yourself. Don't go after what you're good at. But again, they meant well. But I did do what they felt they wanted me to do because they felt pressure to do it. And I did apply, didn't get hired. So of course that doesn't make you feel good.
Right, yeah.
So yeah. Now after I think that time, me and my mom, we did get a job elsewhere. But I think we ourselves chose to do that.
Baylor University,
Yes.
actually, yeah.
And if you're wondering, we no longer live in Waco where this university is, for those of you who are wondering.
Right.
But we did work there.
Yeah.
But we ourselves decided to do that because we were...
just on our own. We
Yeah.
just thought, oh, it'd be nice to have some extra pocket money, just to do some extra things and
right.
help pay for a bill that we couldn't pay otherwise. Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's why we did it. Yeah.
So, I do have a Bible verse to share. It's from Galatians chapter 1, verse 10. This is Paul speaking. He was talking about preaching the gospel, and he says, "For do I now persuade men or God? Or do I seek to please men? For if I still pleased men, I would not be a bondservant of Christ." See, even though people may have good intentions, if they're swaying him to do something, or he feels pressure to do something, or he wants to please men, then he's not following what God wanted him to do. And he's basically saying, I want to be a bond servant of Christ. I can't be swayed away by what others want me to do, or what I should say or think. I have a mission. Yeah. And it's the same. It was the same for me. I have been in the workforce, but I do love being at home and learning new things. And now that I am homeless, it doesn't mean that I've given up that dream. In fact, it kind of pushes me to learn more. I mentioned that in another video, the Hopes and Dreams video that you would have seen by now. You know, I want to do bread making, but doing it on my own. So this is the time for me to learn and grow in that, and not to have someone pressure you to do something away from that.
Right.
Oh, and for those of you who are new, yes, we did try to look for jobs. We did apply, didn't get hired. You can look at that video. I think it's on the anniversary video or foreclosure video.
Right.
For those of you who think, oh, well, you just didn't want to work. We did try. But I'm talking about peer pressure.
Right.
That's different.
Yes, yeah, exactly. I don't know what I was going to say. It just
I think I was talking too fast.
It was just one side of the brain and went out the other for me.
Hope I didn't interrupt you.
Oh, no. I was just going to say something on the side note. But on a side note that everybody else was looking for jobs, then I was kind of prideful, and I thought, you know what? I've worked in the workforce before, and I know I can get a job. So even though Valentine can't get a job, and my own husband can't get a job, and no one else can get a job, and my younger daughter couldn't get a job at that time, and our son wasn't going to get a job because he was going to be in public school at the time, which he was at that time. So we thought, you know, he's in school, and we'll all work while he's in school. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to get a job. I'm going to get hired. I just know it. And I was just all prideful and, you know, high and mighty. But every time I wanted to go to that job for an interview, otherwise, I started to have sharp pains in my legs. I mean, they were awful. It felt like knife pains going through my legs. It was so bad, I had to go to urgent care to see what that was all about. Then I saw a doctor, had some tests done. Comes to find out I had blood clots in my legs. And that's another video. You can go back to the video that talks about homelessness and sickness. I do mention the blood clots in there. And anyway, I think that just through prayer and just by the grace of God, those pains went away. But it happened after I didn't need the job anymore, because then we started to do the candle business and the soap business, and that was supposed to be our income for a while, but that didn't turn out either. It's a long story. We could talk about that in another video. Actually, I don't think we actually went into detail of all that went on during that time period.
Yeah.
That was extremely trying time for me, especially. I took it personally because, you know, I guess because God gave me the ideas for the different themes and stuff for the soaps and the candles, and maybe that's why I took it the hardest, I would think. I don't know. But anyway, that's a different story altogether, and I don't even know why I brought that up.
I think it's just about jobs in general.
Jobs in general, because I didn't get the chance to look for a job, but that's okay. Yeah. Well, now they can share. You all get to share if you would like, you can share how you've been pressured before. I'm sure that everybody, to some extent, has been pressured somehow, some way, whether you were a child, a teenager, an adult, now, whether it's on the job, although that might be more of bullying, maybe, I don't know.
Sometimes.
But, or pressured within your family, friends, peer, co-workers, anything,
anything and everything.
Right, yeah. So if you would like to share, you're welcome to share in the comments. If you are more of a private person or an introvert, you're welcome to send us an email at you can tell them the email address.
Namesake, 2 S's, 106 at gmail.com. I did have something to say. It kind of popped up. I don't know if it's from the Lord or not. Peer pressure is not the same thing as encouragement. Peer pressure is when you are pressuring someone to do something, even if it is in a gentle way. Encouragement is maybe seeing another person's gifts and talents and saying, maybe you should pursue it in this. I'm not telling you what to do. Maybe you can look into doing this. That's different than peer pressure. Okay? Because I think there's a lot of people out there, I've been encouraged myself, like, hey Valentine, I noticed you have this gift, maybe you can work on it more. See, that's not peer pressuring. It's different.
Yeah, one's positive and one's negative.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So always watch your tone. Remember this verse, that you need to please God rather than men. Don't let people sway you, even if they have good intentions. Don't let them sway you from what you feel God has called you to do.
Yeah.
But listen to encouragement instead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a good way to put it.
Hope you like, subscribe, click the notification bell, leave your comments down below, and Lord willing, we'll see you in the next one. Have a blessed day. Bye.
Bye-bye.